I'd just like to give a bit of a round of applause, but also I'd like to tell you a little story, if I can, just before I hand over to Michael Avery. My mother-in-law passed away a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And, of course, there's an estate which has to be wrapped up and so on and so forth. There were some complications because she didn't live here and so on and so forth. Lived up north in Zim. And with Capital Legacy, we actually employed them because there was some of the estate was here. And for 2 years, they've been working quite hard at it. Not full 2 years, but there's things that have to happen in the estate, blah, blah, blah. But let me tell you, they are the most professional people that I've ever dealt with. So if you haven't got a will, or if you haven't used their services, I'd suggest you do so. Because I have been nothing but really, really impressed with the team. They, give you all the feedback you need. They do all the work. They do everything. They really are good. My little personal endorsement this afternoon, because it was wrapped up sort of like today, Friday today, and I thought it was worth mentioning. They really have been very good. Capital Legacy, your number one provider of wills and estates, so it just makes sense that they also now offer life.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me right here in Solomon's Temple. I'm Solomon Izangi Shams, and I welcome you to this broadcast. Thank you so much for joining me, Tervis. Good morning, and from my end, watching from the state of Pennsylvania in the USA. Thank you. Good to have you here, Toko. Awesome to have you here. Also, Nicolus Bongani, Copano. Awesome to have you here. Good to have you here. Sims, she was the first to comment. Miriam, awesome to have all of you guys here. Andrew, awesome to have you here. Thank you guys for joining me. I want to continue a story around a bishop who's called a Bling bishop. If you remember a bishop, I did a video on him, I think a couple of months ago, when he was in church and a couple of young people came in with face covered balaclava and robbed him of his chains and all that kind of stuff. He dresses very expensively and very, very designer. He wears designer stuff, right? His name is Bishop Lamon. And this is the bishop here, just to give you a tip of the iceberg of the kind of bishop I'm talking about. You see, even from his glasses, look at the designer suit that he's wearing, right? So we're talking about this is the bishop here. You see the kind of seat he's sitting. Look at his suit, look at his socks, and look at his shoes, and So why are you drawing all this kind of unwanted attention? Bishops and pastors don't know that when you dress like this, they deceive you that they're dressing because God has blessed them, and when God's blessed you, you're supposed to just dress like this and all that. You're drawing so much attention from you to yourself, rather. That's why he was robbed. They knew if I could just get his watch, that would nail me maybe some $70,000 there. If I could just get his rings together, I'm probably going to get 100,000 US dollars. And also the police and the FBI will be watching you. But you're drawing all this kind of attention like a rock star. Where do you get the money to do all of that? That's the question they will be asking and start investigating you. Look at him here. See the kind of car he's driving. Unashamedly. These kind of guys that probably grew up in poverty, so when you have money, you just want to flaunt it. Well, the sad news is he's based in Brooklyn in the US, New York. A Brooklyn pastor who was robbed while preaching, charged with wire fraud and lying to FBI. That's the charge now against him, right? He took about $70,000 from somebody. Another one is just, I think, about $500,000 or so. And these are the ones they know. They don't even know how much. And some of these guys are members of his congregation. This is what it has to say. It says the flashy jewelry flaunting Brooklyn pastor who reported being robbed while preaching at his church this past summer was arrested on federal charges on Monday for allegedly defrauding a parishioner, member of congregation that is, trying to extort a businessman and lying to the FBI. And when the FBI start chasing you, man, I'm sorry. They will look for anything to nail you. He drew all this sort of unwanted attention to yourself. Sometimes I'm worried about, these American preachers, especially the black ones, the way that they dress and flaunt, the level of hypocrisy with them. Far from practicing what they preach. Some of them. I mean, there are great American preachers, either white or black. But you see what attention, part of what charlatans and false prophets and fake bishops do is part of their ploy is to get attention to themselves, because once they get attention to themselves, then people are going to believe they are anointed, that God has blessed them. Because we're so ignorant, so blind, and so brainwashed that we think when somebody is riding in a car like this, and when they're dressing smart and designers glasses, designer suits, we just say God is there. So you want to troop and go to the congregation, you want to follow them on social media, attend their conferences and all that kind of stuff. Lies upon lies. A lot of them do that. Look at people like Bashiri, Alf Lukau, Passion Java, and all these guys. They have mastered the art of salesmanship. So they're trying to sell you something. Not Jesus, because you cannot even sell Jesus to people. You can only give Jesus to people. And now he's in big trouble. Oh, thanks a lot, Ms. Sims. Appreciate you. Thanks for the gift of $20. I really appreciate you doing that. So this bishop in himself, look at him. He looks like a hip-hop artist, like an R&B Grammy award winning. Everything about him is expensive. Look at the glasses. Did you check out his diamond earrings? And see the designer suit. These suits are made exclusively when you request for them. It's not something that you just walk into the store and just get. So what is he trying to sell, or what is he trying to cover? When you see pastors and bishops and charlatans dressing expensively and nice and all that, I tell you, a lot of them are trying to cover something. They're trying to sell you something that has nothing to do with Jesus. They're trying to deceive you. They're trying to manipulate you. And I wouldn't be surprised if this pastor here himself, Bishop Lamorne, has some sort of a history with fraud or criminal history. Maybe he got born again and truly got born again, but then his past now is encroaching into his future and he allowed it. Guys, our past is always going to show up in our future. If as a 16-year-old you were promiscuous, or you were very manipulative, or you were abusive or whatever, he's going to show up again because you're still in the flesh. What will you do? What will you do? And there are a lot of them. There are a lot of them. Look at this picture here. Look at the sort of seats he is sitting. So it's like a throne. So it's like a royalty. Do you see how these guys are trying to manipulate you? Look at his suit. Look at his shoes. Look at his socks. They are salesmen. They're trying to deceive you. It's all strategy. They need to look expensive. They need to look the way that you would want to look. So they would deceive you because you want to look like them. I don't want to look like that. If I have money to buy all this kind of expensive stuff, to be honest with you, I'm not going to buy this kind of expensive stuff. No matter how much money I have. I'm one of those guys. I could buy something a bit cheaper, use the money for something else. So you will see them dressing expensively, but behind the scene, you don't know how many people they are defrauding, how many people they are manipulating, how many people they are stealing from. Members of their church, because that's where it always starts. Sad news. Anyway, thank you guys. God bless you. Please make sure you subscribe. I will see you again later. Shalom.